the big wrong. We started trading cryptocurrencies in size on Saturday, April 18th, about 2 hours before the market crashed. So you cannot be more wrong than we were with timing. And there's a couple of lessons here. It's not about timing. It's not like we could have predicted any of that stuff. But I just want to talk about the principles and our thought process because, again, the purpose of this podcast is first and foremost to give people a sense for what it feels like to run a hedge fund. So I want to go through the thought process and then also the lesson we learned from being wrong in terms of timing. This is a Not Even Wrong podcast. It's April 20th, 2021. This is Krim Delco. Since the last update, we're down about 4.2%. Actually, excuse me, we're down about 3.2%. We are down 1% for the year. The market, since the last update, is down 1%. The market's up about 9.5%. So we're underperforming by about 10.5%. So we started trading cryptocurrencies a little bit larger size than we did dip into the market about 2 months ago with very small size. We then decided to put about 1.5% of our assets, again, off the hedge fund. So this has nothing to do with Orange Capital Partners. This is a separate trading account. But anyway, long story short, we did some more serious size, and we were doing this, preparing for this trade in the week of the Coinbase IPO. There's a couple of reasons why we did that. First and foremost, we believe that the crypto market as a whole has a lot of legs. We believe that buying tokens is the way to generate wealth. We spoke about more than one order of network effects playing a big role in the wealth generation potential. We spoke about the potential of composability, particularly in the Ethereum and the Algorand networks. So we decided to buy Ethereum and Algorand. Here's where we went wrong. And I didn't discuss this more specifically, but I wanted to test the Coinbase funding mechanism. So I told myself that I am not going to do any other transaction than a wire transaction, and then see how that goes. And I started doing that, and it became complicated. And then I decided to do it, to do the funding in other ways, a bit more, let's say, faster. And that led to us starting to invest towards the end of last week. And we started buying ETH, and then we started buying Algorand. And by the time we were finished buying, it was about 2 hours before the flash crash. So we are down now about 15% in our position. And this is how it sometimes goes. So you have absolutely the worst timing possible. I think the principle that I broke here is that I should have followed my gut instinct and tested Coinbase and the wiring service and the communication and messaging networks and all these things that lead towards, let's say, wiring money to a crypto exchange like Coinbase. And it just became a little bit more complicated than I thought. And I lost my patience. So I did it in other ways. And that in itself is fine. Sometimes you have to adapt. You shouldn't be stubborn and only do what you set out to do. Sometimes transaction costs are high and things like that. Nevertheless, I was impatient. Had I waited, had I made a few phone calls, I still wouldn't be invested probably, and therefore I would be buying 15% lower. However, I didn't. I was impatient, so I paid my price. I think the lesson here is, when you have a certain principle in mind, when you have a certain way of doing things in mind, it's very often really important, even though it might sound superstitious, that, who cares how you fund an investment, just fund it and get it done with. So on the one hand, I think it's very important to stick with your original thesis, to stick with your original thoughts. On the other hand, I have to say, we did want to get invested, and we thought that the Coinbase IPO was a good catalyst. Yes, there was hype. Yes, there was this. Yes, there was that. There was insider selling. There was a lot of things going on that should have maybe put you a bit in caution. But we believe that fundamentally, this is either the start of a new area of software development, of a new software protocol, of a software design paradigm that will propel value creation and wealth generation into whole new horizons. Or we're wrong, and then we're wrong, and that's fine. But this is not something you want to wait and see. That's my point. And this is the second lesson here, okay? you don't wait and see in the investment world. The wait and see is the worst thing you can do. If you don't want to invest, that's fine. If you make a conscious decision not to invest in an asset, that's perfectly fine. But if you want to wait and see, so that means you want to invest, but you're not sure about when and should you capture it now. We spoke about this to try to value something like Ethereum or Algorand. Oh, it's expensive at 2,500, but I'll buy it at 1,500. That's ludicrous. That's naive. You can't do that. I think NLW in his Breakdown podcast, he brought on leverage. I think leverage is absolutely a problem in the crypto market. From our research in the DeFi world, I think the only real applications right now in DeFi, if you ask me, are all about leverage, either leverage in terms of trading or leverage in terms of borrowing funds, and people are borrowing against crypto to pay their bills and things like that. It's definitely going to cost some people their skin. I think what's good about the crypto market is that the institutions are coming in, and those people necessarily have more, they have more rules around leverage. I think leverage is a problem. Leverage is going to cause problems for the crypto market. That's almost certain. The only hope I have in terms of short-term volatility is that the influx of institutions will cover this leverage, at least for now. But then I think we're going to see huge ups and downs because of leverage. So leverage is a problem. I think it's a problem in every new market, every nascent market, because people get excited. There is less rules. There's less institutional rules around investing and leveraging and things like that. Maybe this is different. Maybe in this particular in the crypto market, you will see even more. You will see even more leverage and mortgaging and things like that. It's certainly possible. I don't have insight into actual market dynamics and numbers of leverage and all those things. I think eventually we could see a scenario where the Federal Reserve actually has to bail out the crypto market because of leverage. This would be hilarious. I think we're not there yet, but this is definitely a possible scenario. So to summarize this episode, I just wanted to bring this out because it's one of those things that hurt, but it's good to talk about it. It's important for people to know, and I've been doing this podcast now almost a year, and this was the best year we had in our career, so we are incredibly happy, and there's a lot of success stories to report. This is one of those where we actually learn from mistakes. This is a big mistake we made. Again, the mistake was not to follow through and fund the account properly. We would have then coincidentally waited and survived this flash crash and bought much lower. We didn't. We were impatient. We lost money. Again, near long term, we are fine. Crypto has a lot of upside. But for future fund managers, again, the lesson here: follow your principles. Don't go against your principles. And sometimes it's very easy. And the most important principles are those that are easy to put aside. Stick with them and don't be impatient. This is, I think, the most important thing. As far as crypto is concerned, again, our thesis on crypto is that we want to buy tokens. We want to take advantage of this ability to be exposed to protocols through tokens, because we believe that protocols can, through composability, create value on top of other networks and create this more than one order of magnitude network effect, several order of magnitudes of network effects, or we call the network effect squared and cubed. And this is the potential we wanna participate in, and that's why we bought ETH and Algorand. Thank you.